So I still have not found a daily driver. I have been looking at everything. I've been looking at like mid-2000s Honda CR-Vs, Toyota Highlanders. I've really looked into the... Okay, so I'm getting kind of tired of the Bonneville search. I've been looking for a Bonneville since I sold the 8th gen, and that's like 6 months ago. They're just so rare. And the one that I showed you guys in the last video, I just never... It had everything, you know, it had low miles, good service history, and it has the latches for the car seats. The 2002 Bonnevilles have that, even though they weren't mandated until 2003 models. But anyway, what the hell's going on here, dude? I just didn't buy it for some reason. It was too far. I didn't want to do the whole, you know, flying to whatever state to buy this car thing. And anyway, since then, there have been a couple more, like 2 more, that have popped up that look kind of okay. But I just hesitated. If it's not like, holy crap, if it's not like in the immediate local area, I'm really hesitating on it because it's a 22, 23-year-old General Motors vehicle. You know what I'm saying? I still look every single day. I go on Auto Tempest and I sort it by newest posted, and I look through Facebook Marketplace. It only takes me like maybe 2 minutes max now, because I look at these cars every single day. So I'll look at that and be like, oh yeah, I've already seen that like 6 times. One car that I think I'm gonna go full throttle for, I want to go test drive one though, is a 7th gen Accord. And I know there were some comments about this. I think I mentioned it in the last video too, but I think my complaint at the time was that there are no AC vents in the rear. That's one of my biggest problems with this car, is that in the summer it cannot cool down the car well enough for my daughter in the back. But a big car with a V6, I mean, in theory, it should pump a really good air conditioning flow all the way to the back. God, this road is loud. You know, that's one thing about this car that I really don't like, is that you can't customize your settings, your driver settings. One of the attractive things about the FL5 is that you can make a custom setting where, let's say your throttle response is sport, but your suspension is comfort. That would be super nice. Because when you have a 2-year-old in the back seat, you know, and she's laying down with her head touching the seat, right? And then when you're going over all these bumps, that's a lot of jolting around and bumping around, because this car is stiff. Anyway, so ideally, I would have this car, the steering and the throttle response in sport, and then the suspension and comfort. And that's what I would use like 98% of the time. Because I'm a dad who daily drives a Civic Type R, and I really just go to work and back every day. That's all I do. And I'm just racking up miles on this and dealing with a weak air conditioning system. I don't know. I have my complaints, right? As people do when they drive a car for 4.5 years. You develop complaints about things. I still love this car to death. It's the best car I've ever had. Anyway, back to the car search. Okay, wait. I'm at 4 PSI, and I'm pulling up the hill. One thing I'm gonna do next video is a couple maintenance items I think will help this car breathe a little better too. So I'm looking at 7th gen Accords, and strictly with the V6. Okay, if I'm gonna buy a 7th gen Accord, it's not going to be the 4-cylinder model. K24 is a great engine, but that version, whatever the number is, K24A, whatever, it's got 160 horsepower. I don't know. I want the V6. It's got like 240 horsepower, still has VTEC, and I could slap a cold air intake on it and still have a decent time. So that's what I'm looking at, and I found a couple. Here's one. The guy originally had it listed for $8,000. He said, I was talking to him, he said he would do $7,300 the lowest. And then I was talking to him some more, and he said he would do $7,000. Well, the problem is that this is what the Kelley Blue Book says for it. And I think we're in the economy that we're in right now. I was talking to my friend Christian from Florida about this, is like buyers and sellers are kind of at a stalemate with each other. Sellers don't have a shit ton of money to throw around, buyers don't have a shit ton of money to throw around, and sellers can't afford to lose too much money just because it's so fucking expensive to buy I spent $1,300 a couple months ago on groceries, I think in July. And we don't even eat fancy stuff. But for 2 adults and 1 2-year-old girl, I spent $1,300 on groceries. Anyway, so then he said he would go down to $7,000, right? Kelley Blue Book, it says that it's $7,000 is still high for that car. It has a little bit of cosmetic damage that you can see in this picture right here. But here's the attractive thing. It's a one-owner vehicle. One owner, 2007 Accord V6. That is very attractive to me. Obviously, it has like a whole bunch of service records, and I mean, I think that would be low miles for the year, or low miles for a Honda in general, right? But I still don't want to overpay for a car. I've done that before. I've gotten really good deals on cars, and I've also overpaid for cars. And I think I've done it enough to know when to jump on something and know when not to jump on something, right? I would feel great if I could get it for $6,000, but he's definitely not gonna do that. Anyway, I haven't gone to see the car in person yet. I'm waiting until the government shutdown is over, because right now I don't know if I'm gonna get a paycheck this upcoming week. So I'm gonna wait to see what happens with that until I make some big purchases. Some other things I want to buy too, like I've been wanting to buy a new TV for the living room because our 2019 Vizio absolutely sucks balls. Interface is just junk. Like you go to press a button and it'll respond like a second and a half later. It's just trash. So anyway, there's that one. There's also this other Accord V6 with 80-something thousand miles. Check this one out. This looks really nice. But they said they're firm on the price. And obviously that's really high compared to the KBB value. And for this, like, I could look in a much wider search area. I think I set my search radius to 60 miles. I'm really not looking to do this whole like fly to another state to buy a car type thing if it's a, you know, just a daily driver. There's plenty of stuff locally that I could get, and plus I think like when you're talking about $7,000-8,000, I think that's, you're getting out of control, because like I spent $2,700. Hold on. It's really cool how sometimes you can hear VTEC kick in. It's just so faint, you know? I wish it was like my 8th gen. I miss that car a lot. I should not have sold that car. I love this car. I love this car. Best car I've ever had. But there's still a small part of me that wishes I would have sold the Type R. I know that sounds crazy. And kept the 8th gen. Why? Well, number one, I would have a shit ton of cash in my pocket, which always feels good to have like a big savings account. Number two, the 8th gen was just like, it's just a great car. I don't know, I had a great time driving it. It wasn't fast, but it was fun. And I mean, hitting VTEC in that 8th gen was just an experience. Man, I loved that car. Anyway, there's a part of me that wishes it would have gone down like that. This thing is so loud, dude. I get told all the time by people that they can hear me coming down like a mile away. I got randomly searched like sometime last week, and the guys who were doing it told me that they could hear me like way down the road. Vivian tells me all the time, like, she can hear when I'm turning onto the street when she's in the house with all the doors and windows closed. Back to the daily driver thing. 7-8 grand, that is way more than I like initially set out to spend. And I think I need to start like checking myself with that, you know, because it's kind of like that mentality where, well, if I'm going to spend 5 grand, what's the difference between 5 and 6? You know, why don't I just get this nicer car with lesser miles for 6 grand versus this one for 5 grand? And then if you start looking at cars for 6 grand, you start going, well, what about this one for 6,500? Or what about this one for 7 grand? And then you keep creeping up, right? And you're losing like the initial boundaries you set for yourself. So I just want a cheap, reliable daily driver. And, you know, hold on a second. Reliable, right? But with the exception of like a nice Bonneville. I know most of you watching are, you know, JDM people. I understand that. I've been doing this for like 6 years. But the engine and transmission in the Bonneville, really, they're reliable. Anyway, everything else around the car, not so much. I don't know. And then when I go down and look at cars, I did this the other night because I realized I was going way out of like the price range I initially set for myself. And I looked at cars in a 60-mile radius from $2,500 to $4,500. And there's not much that's like clean. You know, there's not much that I would be willing to go look at and think, yeah, I would feel good about driving my 2.5-year-old daughter around in. Do you know what I'm saying? Before, like when I got the ES300, it was just me, you know? Sometimes I would have Vivian in the car, but I didn't have a small human being to take care of and think about safety features and all that type of stuff. So I loved that ES300, and I would absolutely spend money on another one, because $4 grand can get you an okay ES300 around here. But that was before the United States mandated the lower anchors for car seats. So I'd have to use the seatbelt method. And there was somebody who commented, I think last video, and they said, I think they said they were an EMT or something like that. I'll put it on the screen so you can see the comment. And they said, like, the lower anchors are a must. That's why I'm not really considering anything pre-2003. There are some vehicles from 2002 that had the lower anchors. It just depended on the automaker, I guess. If they felt, some of them felt like, you know, putting that stuff in early before the mandated. Yeah, I mean, I found a few more Accords that fit the bill. I mean, 2006 and 7 are the best years to buy for the transmissions, but because I didn't have the exact same transmission as the Acura TL, you know, with the 3.2, but I guess the 2003 or 2005 still had some spotty transmission issues. But I found a couple for less money. I'm just kind of, I don't know, a boatload of miles, which doesn't necessarily scare me, right? Because it's meant to be like a daily drive. I'm just gonna rack up miles on it, highway miles, just like I do now with this car, which I'm not happy about, but that's just the way it is right now. Another car, it's not that pretty. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but the Lexus ES330. So from 2004, to 2006. Those are nice. We just saw one. Vivian and I were just at Home Goods. I saw one drive by. I was literally just saying this to Vivian, like, I just want a comfortable, like, smooth sedan to daily drive. That's just what I want right now. And then we're about to cross the street, and a nice ES330 passes right in front of us. And I'm like, just like that. And she's like, yeah, I was just about to say, just like that. So, those are cool. Very spacious inside. Very decent interior. And it's got a 3.3 liter V6 with just enough power to, you know, keep your spirits up. Yeah. And, like, a lot of old people have those cars. And a lot of, like, so a lot of younger people kind of inherit them when they're, this is awful to say, but when their boomer parents die, you know, a lot of, like, Gen X are inheriting them and posting them on Facebook Marketplace for decent prices. So I could get one of those. I don't know. I haven't even gone to, like, look at one or test drive one yet, so. But if it's anything like my ES300 from 1998, I'm pretty sure I would enjoy driving it. Oh! Dude, this car scoots, man. This is a scooter. Still get compliments to this day. Still get compliments about this car. Man, I've had 5 Honda Civics, which is pretty crazy. I'm sure there are people out there who have had way more Honda Civics than me, but to say that I've had 5 Honda Civics, there is one more I would like too. That's an EM1. Still, one day I would love to have an EM1, but I mean, those are getting to the point, those have already gotten to the point actually, where they are so rare that people want insane money for them. So honestly, I think that's a little, I think that the time for an EM1 has come and gone. But I would like another 8th or 9th gen. 9th gen would be fine too. I don't know, guys. Honda Civics still, at the end of the day, they're super small inside. When Vivian sits in the passenger seat here, her knees are like this close to touching the glove box. And she's 5'8". I mean, she's not like a crazy tall person. Tall for a woman, but not crazy tall in general. So, I just want something bigger for the daily, you know?